Hello and welcome everybody to week 1, day 3 of our playoffs for NACL.
Yes, that's right.
That is the first day of round 2, and we are in the upper bracket continuing with us. I will be walking through the action today. You can call me Kangas. I'm joined by Mad Magical. I don't know what else you can call it.
Instead of walking, can we run?
Well, hopefully, because we have a long weekend. There's 4 days of broadcast. Yeah, if we could run through this one.
I'm not saying we sprint through it.
A brisk jog at the very least.
Exactly, marathon jog, right?
Yeah,
you keep
power
the pace
walk.
going. No power walking. We've got the momentum. We're going for the long haul. We're gonna have a lot of fun, and we're gonna get excited along the way.
We'll get semantics out later. We'll figure out what pace exactly we're gonna try and hit here. But we also have Jersey on the desk.
Hey, that's me. I think I would like to throw in a trot as our big opportunity.
Okay, I can respect a trot.
Trot's
a trot.
a good one.
You can do it at a trot. You can do it at a gallop. You can do it real slow so your heart don't palpitate. Just don't be late. Do the Puyallup.
Josh,
was that off the dome? Please tell me that was off the dome.
No, that comes from that's a jingle that we have for the Washington State Fair.
I was just about to praise you, Josh, and be like, man, what?
That would have been incredible. Clearly, Josh is not that good with his words.
Not that imaginative.
We often tell him that he should pick another profession. No, we love you. We love you. You know who is good with their words? Some of the players and their comms, because we're done with round 1. So we have a fun clip that we want to start off with.
Round 1.
Yeah, yes.
Are we not? I guess we have the lower bracket.
Semantics again. We're done with the first round in the regular bracket. Now we're into the winning
regular? What are you trying to say,
We had a victory from Team LCS Challengers, and we wanted to highlight some of the player comms that happened at the end of their series. So let's take a look.
Guy is out. No last. Oh, Draven. Draven. I'm going down first. Get first. Hit Draven. Draven. Watch here. Watch here. Nice. Yo, can we kill? Nice! Okay, Carcass is ulti. Calm down. Carcass is ulti.
Okay. I have TP. I'm gonna go we go both.
Guys, protect Jinx. We win the game.
Please, defend me. Please.
Only Jinx.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I am by myself, by the way. Just hit the tower. I'm fucking boss right now. Let me get excited.
Just don't die to him. End the game.
A cool moment and awesome to hear the player comms, especially APA. Calm down, everybody. Calm down. we know we can celebrate, but we also have to end the game afterwards. It's fun to hear the players.
You got to feel a bit bad for Lens there, too, because he was stun locked that entire time that he was dying. I think he got like 2 auto attacks off.
Too. He was doing so good that game, and then it's like TLC realized, oh, if we just put all our attention onto Draven, we could win.
Yeah. He was doing a crazy amount of damage to the front line, too. But that was only one of the moments. We wanted to highlight it because APA did tweet that out. So shout out to APA for letting us use the footage from their comms. Now let's take a look at the rest of the top moments from round 1. Even if the lower bracket is still technically round 1, I don't consider that my headcanon. So I'm going forward with this one. Round 1 roundup here from all the matches that happened over the past 2 days. A lot of cool moments. So let's start walking through these. This one in particular, have either of you seen this? Unforgiven's like insane outplay.
No.
That was a pretty good outplay. All right, here's the outplay.
This is the outplay.
Look
at the situation he's in. And I think even the call, it was Destrix on the call, like, wait, Unforgiven, he wins these. What? Like, look at that.
Nice.
The fact that he's able to just go for that kill and pick up the win afterwards is insane.
I'm really glad it wasn't the first kill that was the outplay. I was like, that wasn't that impressive, Steve.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, okay, I understand.
Hold on. I love this clip. I put this one in because it looks like AoE are going to lose this game. But yeah, forget about the Gamsu playoff buff. And on Cho'Gath, it completely turns around this fight. That would have been the end of the game. Unfortunately, AoE still lose the game. But it was still a great moment where it's like, okay, now we have a game. This is actually really close.
Gamsu play buff is kind of insane how consistent it is. All right, so this one's Dignitas versus Flex.
This is the Spawn moment. Yeah. This is, I think this was Alex and I coming through, and I'm just sitting here. It's like, yeah, Spawn goes absolutely nuts here. There is nothing that anybody has left in the tank to actually hit the AD carry who's able to free hit the entire time. think he only gets like a triple or a double kill, but still, just the amount of damage he's able to do in that one moment is nuts. It's not even the biggest multi-kill. That's this one. This is Neo's pentakill he gets yesterday to close out the series against CLG Challengers. And honestly, you know, you got to give a bit of props to Kevy at the very end here for coming back and making sure that no quadra kill goes unanswered.
Well, see, I was a little worried because, you know, we were casting this one. I'm like, okay, too much time's passed. It's not going to be an official pentakill. But, you know, just barely.
It's so generous.
It was so generous
Yeah,
there.
as long as no one's respawned, then you can still get the penta, I believe. So, but hey, they won that one. Last time we got a pentakill, I think they lost the game. So he and Pretty are 2 players that have that under their name. But that time, of course, was the win. We had a cool outplay from Philip onto ADD as well. And then it just kind of escalates from there. Philip's actually having a pretty solid performance so far.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, just the turnaround from the middle of the season where he was not looking particularly hot is helping out FlyQuest quite a bit. You can tell that bringing in Winsome and having Masu with them has helped out not just his the team's play, but also just helped him find his confidence again.
Yeah. And for a player that we had high hopes for, sometimes that happens where a rookie will come in and we really hype them up, and then in their sophomore split, maybe a sophomore slump, like not every player can follow and continue that momentum. It's difficult to always be improving as a player, and it's cool to see Philip. You know, he's achieved highs, maybe dipped a little bit, but he's getting back up towards those highs that we kind of know him for. So let's take a look at the playoff bracket and how things are shaking off so far from round 1. And look at that, Magical. Where are all the lower bracket games? They're one round after the first round games.
But then you actually look at how they're classified. How they're classified is not that way. So I hate to break it to you, but they're classified as round 1. It's that's how double eliminations go. That's how a double elimination bracket works, Steve. I know I have to teach you these things, but it's okay. You'll learn slowly but surely.
JR producers on my side here for sure, based on
is this why we don't have a double elimination for Worlds? Is because it's too complicated?
I think so. I think absolutely. But clearly NACL better playoff bracket than Worlds because every team will get 2 lives in this bracket. We're going to be covering upper bracket matches on this stream. If you want to check out some of the lower bracket matches, pull up twitch.tv/PatTheLCS. We're going to cover all of them between today and tomorrow. It is crazy how fast we're going through, but there will be teams that we are bidding farewell to at the end of day today.
See, you're saying go watch it over on the other channel. Why not just watch both of them, you know?
Well, yes, of course.
If you have a phone, watch it on your phone, then get your TV as well. You know, you can put it. That's what I do.
True.
Whenever it's my off days. What do you do you think I go out and have a life? No. I just go into my living room and I have my tablet with one of the streams, TV with the other one, and my phone I'm doing other research on.
One of my favorite things that always happens here in the Casa de Casters is the number of times where we'll have like the LCS stream up like 4 different screens. We'll have it on like our big TV in the living room. It'll be on every single one of our. We'll have it on like one monitor, and as we like move between to grab lunch and things, it's always up. You should do the same thing, except we have a bunch of different streams to go at.
Yeah, just double the screens that you have. Basically,
and we know half of you are going to be at work, so just make sure your boss doesn't see it. Have it in like 1/4 of the screen.
All right. Well, we want to cover some of the teams in the lower bracket, even though we won't be watching them today. We have this fun tradition on the show because every year one team makes a deep run in that lower bracket. One of the teams that gets knocked down first will make it into top 6 consistently over the years this has happened. So we want to highlight that. Even though we're no longer in Proving Grounds, the format is still the same. So who are our dark horses this time around? I will go first. I went with a pretty safe bet, I will say.
Howard.
It is CLG. CLG Challengers are a team that are top half of the standings. I know.
Wow, I know.
The Scrim God narrative, everyone's saying that they should be good. It's just in stage games, sometimes they choke. I think that they can have a... I mean, the pressure is going to be higher because the loss means that you're out, but the competition shouldn't be as stiff in the lower bracket. I think CLG Challengers should make a very deep run in this bracket no matter what.
Wow, I can't believe Steve is predicting
CLG
to do well.
Should I get my jerseys, or which one should I get?
Okay, this is where I'm a little upset with you, Steve. You had 2 options. You had the Coward's way out, which was taking the Challengers team, or you had the Chad way out by taking CLG Faith. And you took the Cowards.
You're right. I could have taken CLG Faith.
Yeah, that would have been a decision to make for sure.
Decision of all time.
There's a couple options you could take as the dark horse, at least from the lower bracket. I think Magical.
Yeah,
We have
Magical's
yours
up next. Let's see yours.
Is yours the other one?
No, I am not
No!
a coward. I'm
What?
a Fly fan, baby.
Fly fan?
No coward. I will take the Chad way out. They are up against stiff competition and Immortal Challengers, but they've already beaten them one game. They tied the series 1 apiece last time they faced just a couple weeks ago. I feel like Fly Fam, that's the team to beat. They're going to be the dark horse. They're going to upset everyone's expectations. Hell, they looked good in game 1 against Dignitas Challengers. Had it not been for just one mistake that they made around the Baron play, they probably would have won that game.
The 15th seed. That is a bold call, but I love you for it, Magical. And
I ain't no coward.
part of me wants it to be true. Joshi, let's go over yours.
Is
any
not
surprise?
super surprising. Not really surprising. I think there are 2 options that you could take. There are CLG Challengers, and there's Wildcard Gaming, and then there's whatever Magical's thinking about. There are 3 options. I mean, CLG Challengers are such a good team, right? Even talking to Sven Skaren before we got him onto the interview, he was even saying, like, yeah, probably the best teams to scrim against. There's like C9, CLG, and Fear as some of the strongest teams to play against. And he's saying like these guys can realistically be the best team in the entire bracket. We haven't seen it yet, and I'm really counting on that coming through.
Well, that's what we all bet to be the dark horses. Let us know who you think will make the deepest dark horse run in Twitch chat and on Twitter at #NACL, and you can even add Pat to LCS if you want. Maybe we can get some of those up during the stream. Let's take a look at the matches for today on this stream. We will have Cloud9 Challengers taking on Team Liquid Honda Challengers, and then Cincinnati Fear, who are winning the hearts of the fans everywhere. 5 Challenger players and a dream going up against Golden Guardians Challengers. If you want to check out the other stream, pull up both, of course, but if you're also interested in some of the knockout games, we will have CLG Faith versus Wildcard going on, and then also AoE versus EGC.
Yeah. Also, as a very, very tangential point, I really hope that we can get like a Pittsburgh Knights team at some point in like the Challengers League to go up against Cincinnati Fear. We can get some grudge matches going on there.
But for now, teams that have like a city associated.
Wildcard's based in Las Vegas, so they haven't really leaned into that too heavily, but kind of.
They should just call themselves the Las Vegas Wildcards. That'd be. I like that. I like that. You know, lean into it.
Evil Geniuses is on the Seattle City Sports Council.
I didn't know they were on the City Sports Council, but I did know that they were based in Seattle.
Well, they don't have a Prodigies team anymore, so that wouldn't count for any of the provisional teams having a city. But let's take a look at the Challenger teams that we're going to focus on to start off the day regardless. Cloud9 Challengers up first, a powerhouse roster and the clear favorites in this tournament. Many of us have them in first place. I don't know if actually anybody had an argument for like Dignitas's or Fears. You did? Okay.
Remember, that's why he had to shave.
You know, fair enough.
Regular season.
He did for the regular season.
I have since rectified. I honestly still believe that Cloud9 Dignitas are probably going to be in the finals, but Rafa, actually on Raising an A, didn't have Cloud9 making the finals at all. You know, we have somebody who's doubting a little bit.
Bold prediction. I feel like with how Cloud9 Challengers have performed from every single lane, looking absolutely dominant, topping the tables in every respective lane, has been insane to compete against.
If they don't make finals, it could be because of this next team. Knocking them down early, Team Liquid Honda Challengers had a close series against Wildcard. They are technically the defending champs from last year Proving Grounds, back-to-back winners. Only one returning player, though, in Bradley. The rest of the roster rebuilt over the offseason for now the Challengers League. So a lot of pressure riding on a player like Bradley in that regard, because you won back-to-back. How can you do it now with a new roster coming in much lower seed against the #1 seed powerhouses in Cloud9 Challengers? So let's talk about Team Liquid Honda and how they looked regarding their gameplay, maybe towards the end of the season, but then also throughout the playoffs so far.
Well, I was going to say, you're talking about Bradley and how do you win with a new team, 4 new members. Well, one of them is Mir. Mir has looked like one of the best junglers. Actually, I would argue the best jungler we have in the Challenger circuit. I almost said Academy because I'm so used to it. But in the Challengers League, this guy has been one of the big focal points for how the team has found success, how he's able to set up a lot of a map for the team, where he's looking for these plays, if it's bot lane to try to get them ahead. Unfortunately, it's just not always where all his plays work out perfectly, or the fact that his team has fallen too far behind in some lanes that it doesn't matter what he does. It's not enough to overcome the deficit they find themselves in. but he's still a very impressive player because he constantly looks for those moments, those risky plays, and usually it's pretty calculated despite the risk.
And it's also worth noting he's on a bit of a redemption arc, right?
Yeah.
After getting dropped from Hanwha Life after their 3rd place run in LCK, he ended up playing through LCO, went to Worlds there. Now he's in the North American Challengers League trying to find his way back to a major region.
And in our MVP conversation, most valuable prospect, Mir is towards the top of the discussion. We'll be, trickling out some more info about what the top 5 looks like going into next week, but a little teaser. The Mir may or may not appear on that list. So let's take a look at the rest of the roster, because I also want to highlight the bot lane. I think that in the last series we saw against Wildcard, Arrow and Kimdown had really stepped up in this series. We already looked at this earlier because we got the player footage, but Arrow is such a clutch player. He's got the bailout and plays at the knife's edge to actually get that kill. Kimdown and Arrow in the team fights are popping off, but then also this next clip that we look at is showing that they're very creative in looking for these ganks. And Arrow here misses the rocket, but he just mistimed it because he was looking for the flash over the wall. He was predicting the flash to hit the rocket on it. Didn't need it. So even though it looks a little weird that the arrow or the rocket goes wide, I still think it's cool to highlight. It's like he's thinking that far ahead. It's like, okay, he's going to flash, so I can shoot this now.
I, too, claim that when I miss my rockets badly.
So does Dimitri, actually. We're going to keep on that train for a little while longer. But the big thing, Arrow's definitely a player that I have found struggles to find like the bright moments from this player a lot of the time because it's so easy to see some of the mistakes, but they did play really well in their wildcard series, and if they can continue that, it'll give them much more to play around, because we have to remember it's not enough to just be a good bot lane when you're playing up against the best bot lane in the entire league in Lost and Zeyzal.
And Lost and Zeyzal have been the terrors of bot lane since Tomo getting promoted up into the LCS. That was the only bot lane that was really in contention with taking the crown away from Lost and Zeyzal. And since that has not been the case anymore, you just look at how they always make these plays, whether it be in lane, that they dominate in the lane phase, how they play around team fights and utilize Zeyzal for these engages, while Lost has been perfect on knowing when to strike and where to position. This has just been another one of those factors we talk about with Cloud9 Challengers. 3 winning lanes almost every single game. That gives Tomio this island that he's just like, I can free farm, and if I need to show up, I suppose I can, but I don't need to worry about it too much because I got a really strong bot lane, I got a strong mid laner, and I got a strong top laner.
So the way I see it is Arrow and Kimdown need to have the level of performance they showed in the wildcard series if they want to take this one, because Cloud9, you said it there, Magical, every lane has been pretty much winning, which allows Tomio a very easy jungle game. But bot lane in particular, I think if TL can hold the line there, that might give Mir something to play with, because when we look at the weakness of Cloud9 Challengers, even though it's not like a big weakness, but generally we think, okay, maybe you can exploit Tomio in the jungle. Maybe Mir, as the prominent player on Team Liquid Challengers right now, one of the players that we think is the most impactful for this team, if he can out-jungle Tomio, that could be the key to success for them. But we're going to find out quickly, because we are ready for pick and ban, so I'm going to throw it over to Matt Magical and Joshi for game number 1.
Thank you, Sir Pucking. I mean, Kangas for the throws. We'll see you for our halftime show as we get ready for our first best of 3 in the second round of the upper bracket. We look at Cloud9 Challengers, Team Liquid Challengers, and it's funny because at the beginning of the season, TLC were a team that everyone had at the top of the table. It was a team that we all expected great things of. Of course, you have Bradley, the 2-time champ, with a very solid team that was built upon from all those the tryouts they did, where it was a long process to handpick every one of the players on this team. But then they finished 9th in the season. Sure, they were able to take down Wildcard in the last series, but it was a struggle. It was a close fought series, and you're going up against the best team we have in the Challengers League.
Yeah, I mean, Cloud9, they were basically always second and then really only overtook Dignitas in the last week or so. And there's a good reason for it. Almost every single one of these players is top 4 in their role, and the people who aren't are definitely top half, right? It's really, really difficult to go up against a team that is just so dominant kind of across the board. And I feel like especially a lot of our more veteran players like Fake God Lost and Zazel in particular have been players that have just really showcased that, yeah, you can't sleep on these guys. These guys are coming in together. They have a ton of experience and their shot calling has been strong. And with this Cho'Gath first pick, I mean, priority on this champion has been rising just because it wins all front-to-back team fights. It really pushes things like Sion and other tanks like Ornn into a really difficult places to actually play.
The 5-way flex, as some people like to call it. I know you're not quite on that hype train of saying that
I think it's good. I just don't think it's that good.
But still has flexibility. Multiple rules that he can go into. But when we look at the bans this time around, this is very much a 13-5 ban, except for that Draven. Really aimed towards Arrow. One of the best Dravens we have in the league outside of Flens. But then that left open Sejuani. It left open Thresh that they could pilot in the spot lane. And then Lost and Zazel going for lane domination themselves in a Lucian Nami lane.
Yeah, basically the only team that is still playing this Lucian Nami after all the changes, after all the crit itemization shifts, has pushed a lot more of these other AD carries into further prominence. But Lost and Zazel, I mean, one of the most common things you always hear about the Lucian is that it scales with skill. And there's a whole lot of skill coming out from the Cloud9 bottom lane. And looking at this, well, yes, Arrow's on one of his most comfortable champions in the Jinx, and Kim Down is on arguably his one trick that he was playing before he even joined Team Liquid Challengers. This is a lot of potential success coming out for TLC, but it is a big challenge once again. I really like what Cloud9 have already picked for themselves. The big thing that they need to do is showcase where this Cho'Gath is actually going to be playing and still figure out what it is that Tomio is going to try and play up against this Sejuani.
But now we do know, not bot lane. Also surprised that we don't see any Senna for either team, but also not surprising because who the bot laners are for each team.
Yeah,
so it's like one of those things where like, oh, you're 13-5, Senna, so strong, and then you're like, oh, it's Lost Zazel, Arrow Kim Down. Yeah, we're not going to see that this series. So not really expected to see the ban, but something that is a bit surprising is how we get into the second part of the bans. Wukong taken away from Tomio, another jungler off the table, but Vi still open, something that can definitely be played and has been doing great things for C9, especially when you have such a powerful bot lane like Lucian Nami.
Yeah, it is going to be fascinating to see what people do actually do. The big thing for Cloud9, they have enough ambient magic damage, and as we look towards TLC, it's going to be a generically strong mid lane champion in the Syndra. Scales very well going into whatever Diplex wants to play, but Diplex has been showcasing a lot of things like the Silence, and there's some good ults to pick up on the other side. The laning phase is not the easiest thing in the world, but Diplex has showcased that he can beat up on some of the LCS mid laners, and it's worth noting the last time Team Liquid and Cloud9 played, it was still a menace in the mid lane, and APA had a tough time there.
He did, and Diplex is someone that it's not like it's a full-on downgrade either from M&S. He was 7-2 in the LCS. He's still a very good mid laner, and we've seen him absolutely crush the competition here in the Challengers League. So he's got a lot that he can choose. Like you talked about, that Silence, I think, is a really good pick, especially when you see the other side, or even on a Akali, something to be even more aggressive and punish the fact that Syndra early game, not like how she used to be that lane bully.
Yeah, and now as we see this Akali come through for Diplex, it is worth noting that this matchup is very dependent on how well APA can use the Scatter of the Week to knock Diplex out of the second part of the Shuriken flip. And the only thing we have to see left is what is Bradley going to be choosing to play into this Cho'Gath up in the top lane. It's also worth noting that Fake God can choose to play this Akali, but it's going to be the Viego pickup, almost definitely going over to Mir, and I'm a little bit surprised that we're putting Bradley on this tank duty once again. It was something that we did see Team Liquid Academy having success on, but they were also a team that, let's face it, had a stronger bottom lane in Yan and Ayla, and Harry, who was also probably the best laner in all of the Academy scene last year. And so moving into this, putting Bradley, who we were pumping up as potentially the guy to be up in the top lane, on a tank is a big change in how they're actually playing.
Granted, when you know Cho'Gath is on the other side, even if the flex could be there where it's a Akali top lane, it's hard to really say, I want to play something that's going to be very squishy and have to deal with Cho'Gath early, because the sustain he gets in his kit early on as well, once he hits level 6, you're that much more vulnerable to getting devoured right away. So I can understand that, but I'm looking at the two compositions, right? Oh, here, actually, I'll let you say your point before I
was just going to say, the Thanos pick here would have been Mundo for Bradley. give the Sejuani to Mir, you automatically win the game because nothing's killing Mundo on the other side at all at any point during this game. But anyway, going back into it, you had something you wanted to say about the actual composition.
Yeah, I was kind of looking at the compositions, the identities we have from both teams. Team Liquid Challengers haven't really been that team that win lane, win game. It has been much more about how they group up together as a team. They've drafted that way, but it's up against Cloud9 with winning lanes power that they love to have all across the board and giving Tomio free time as we load up onto the Rift. It is the first game here in round 2, the upper bracket. Cloud9 Challengers, the #1 seed, taking on Team Liquid Challengers, the defending double champions.
Yeah, it's worth noting that while Cloud9 aren't necessarily the team that you think of for blitzing other teams, it is worth noting that they are still the second highest during the regular season for gold at 15. And Team Liquid are not that far behind. It is 1,700 for Cloud9 and 1,200 for Team Liquid. And Team Liquid is a team that will gamble a lot on some of the early plays that you can make. Mir tends to spend a ton of time down on the bottom lane. And, Alex, we're kind of shifting a little bit more into Mir's style of meta. Playing the Maokai's Defies wasn't something that Mir was known for. It was really where he was playing a lot of these bruisers, like the Lee Sins, where he really made his name.
Exactly, and that's something I did want to bring up too. This Viego, when we look back to last year, when Mir was in OS, Viego was one of the big picks that helped get the team all the way to Worlds that they utilized pretty effectively. Just ended up being that it wasn't as powerful at Worlds, so unfortunately didn't have the best showing at that event.
Yeah, and it was not the best opportunity for OS to show what they could do, but I always thought that Mir was one of the brighter points for the roster, even if it wasn't quite his meta. But now, as we start paying attention to what is going to happen, we know that Mir spent a lot of time in the bottom lane during the regular season in order to help out Team Liquid, but he's currently pathing away. You see the way that he's leaning with the Wolves. Does mean he's going to go towards the top side. He's already pinging, hey, I'm going to do my Raptors, I'm going to do my red buff. Fate God is going to be the most likely target early on, which is a bit surprising to me because it's not the easiest, like, even if you get the Sejuani ahead, it's a good tank and it's going to be hard to kill, but it's not as though this champion is going to be impossible for the team to deal with.
Granted, it's fairly easy to gank with Sejuani Viego, right?
Yeah.
Because you easily can proc up the passive for Sejuani, does a lot of good early damage to even a Cho'Gath who's not going to be tanky enough at all to survive that. And right there, look at Mir. Already pathing, and with how far up Fate God is playing, Rupture already used, he's in danger. He has flash available, but he's got to use it soon. There's the flash away from the second Maul.
And this is what we've seen quite often, a lot of top lane ganks in order to make sure that the top lane is frozen in a really good position. Now Bradley will have a little bit more control over how this lane actually pushes through, and Fate God now with no flash. I mean, this is a very easy angle for Mir. He does it all the time bot lane. He goes, farms a camp, comes right on back to go for the repeat gank.
That's what I was hoping for. I was literally about to say that before you already said it, Josh, because that is something that Mir has done so many times, so successfully. He's got Krugs, and with how Fate God's playing now, he is playing very cautiously, understanding that this is a typical Mir play. Pretty much play one in the playbook of Mir. As Mir, right outside of vision, he's going to spot out that the mist has been popped, and he's actually pathing down towards the Scuttle Crab.
He does have to be looking. We'll see if Fate God was actually looking for that to see if they know where Team Liquid does have their jungler. So Team Liquid, I mean, it's going to be, it doesn't cost him a whole lot. He is still on pace and can back away. It looks like he might even try and go for the Gromp. Or, oh, is there a blast cone for him to pop over?
No, there's not. No blast cone, but he does have the movement speed. Bradley on top of Fate God, looking for the passive to stack, flash in with Spectrum on. They get the stun, the Rupture dodged away. They got the stun as well. They've got everything they need with Ignite as well for first blood.
This is why we always look at Mir as one of our strongest players, one of our best junglers in the entire league. His patience and awareness during fights is fantastic. He goes for the stun and dodges forward to get out of that Rupture, finding that first blood for himself. It's not about snowballing the top lane, it's about snowballing himself.
And mid lane, APA got a very good trade against Diplex right there. Look at how the CS is. Even though Diplex has been trying to outshove APA this entire time, he's fallen behind in CS pretty severely to APA, and with how low his health bar is now, level 6 right around the corner for APA, Diplex has to play this one incredibly cautiously.
Yeah, cool. Lots of damage going through. It is a tough laning phase for the Akali if you can't land those shuriken flips, just because this is what Syndra's going to do to you as a range versus melee champion with all the extra damage you can put out relatively early on. It is very difficult for the Akali to survive early. But now as we start moving towards this,
the poor wolf.
It will despawn at the very least, so it doesn't grieve Tomio's tempo. Just a little bit of gold that's missing out. But here comes Kim down and Mir to make sure APA can actually get his back off once this wave crashes.
Zeyzal was hovering around the mid lane as well, since they have resets across the board for bot lane. Both Lost and Arrow back in base, picking up some key itemizations early on, since they are actually completely even at this moment. Not having anyone with a large lead, this is a great look for Team Liquid Challengers, because we talked about before, well, I was talking about it, saying how powerful a lot of Cloud9's lanes have been, where it's usually been every lane absolutely crushing the competition and Tomio having a free jungle. Well, this time, there is no bleeding. Everyone's either even or even ahead if you look at APA.
Yeah, I mean, it is worth noting that Arrow and Kim down, who we were painting the biggest question mark on, are currently even in CS, even if they've been forced into a situation where they are down a little bit of experience because Kim down was forced to back. But Cloud9, this is not the look we tend to see from them. It's a big shout towards the way that Team Liquid are currently playing. My question at this point is, how are Team Liquid going to transition into the mid game? Because that is oftentimes where some of the weaknesses from the bottom lane are even more exposed. Kim down on the Thresh is one of his best characters, and now they're looking to potentially pick Tomio.
Possibly, the hook connects on the Zeyzal. It's going to be the support where they put all the attention on. He flashed away to survive it all, as they could re-engage. Tomio got a lot of damage onto Kim down. Forcing him away as APA has to fight against Diplex on the other side with the Twilight Shroud. They've got a lot of damage, but perfect execution from Diplex helps clean up this fight.
And immediately after we start questioning the mid-game decisions, Team Liquid absolutely go for a play, and Cloud9 are there to punish. The damage is not there from Team Liquid just quite yet, and Cloud9 go, oh, that's it? All right, now it's my turn, and turn it right around.
They couldn't kill Zeyzal. And after that, they didn't have anything left in the tank for Team Liquid Challengers. The biggest benefactor of that entire play, too, Diplex. 2 kills from that fight where we were just saying how he was struggling against APA. But once he shows up into the fight, that's what turns this completely around.
Yeah, and as we take another look at it, right, the fact that they don't get that first kill onto Zeyzal is huge. Arrow doesn't reset. Now he's the one frontlining for the team because of all the damage that Lost was able to put down onto Mir and Kim down in from there. It's relatively easy for Diplex to just come in. Easy double kill. Still has the Shroud in order to clean everything up. And Lost picking another one up on the other side of the fight. It feels as though Cloud9 just withstand an early attack coming out from Team Liquid and come out so much better for it. The game's definitely not over, but that is a big morale bust for Team Liquid.
Especially because, like I said, Diplex getting a lot of the gold, but Lost too. The fact that he was able to hunt down Arrow, get that kill onto him, gives a lot of power back to the spot lane, where we're just praising how Arrow and Kim down have been withstanding this pressure that normally gets exerted by Lost and Zeyzal. But after that play, it's no longer any even ball game. It is all Lost and Zeyzal controlling how the tempo of the spot lane is. Look at how Kim down and Arrow are forced to play now.
Yeah, I wonder what Arrow is looking to potentially back and purchase.
Probably because they were, the only thing I could think of is lane swap. Is possibly try to get them out of this, because this is frozen. Look at how slowly and patiently Lost and Zeyzal are playing this.
Yeah, Arrow doesn't even have the money for a pickaxe, so it's Lost and Zeyzal. They're currently building this up, but Cloud9 not currently posturing in a way to make a dive happen. But I'm expecting that as soon as this gets underneath the turret, you will probably see the culling come up from Lost just to chip Arrow and Kim down while they can't do a whole lot about it. Feels as though the map has definitely gone a little bit further in favor of Cloud9, and they have a composition that, while it doesn't scale as hard as Team Liquid, does have a lot of tools to be very aggressive, just because you dictate when a lot of these fights happen. There's really only the ultimate from Bradley.
There's that calling. Didn't do enough damage. There are enough minions to body block, plus it looks like Lost Zeyzal. They didn't actually want to set up a dive since Tomio has been hanging around the top half of the map for quite some time. So instead, getting resets off and getting Gale Force. All right, big spikes for Cloud9.
It's a big one. Yeah, that's a lot of extra damage that will be coming through. Arrow still has no flash. And of course, the tidal wave is still available. And up in the top lane, it looks as though Fake God has recuperated a lot of some of the early issues, right?
Also,
yeah,
look what Fake God's building.
Roa.
Yeah, not going for the tank build path that I was expecting because they have, you know, a NACL. That's a lot of AP damage already.
Now, I have a question, Alex. Were you the one who said ROA?
No, I say,
I say
Roa. But okay, nice play underneath the turret. Turret can flip out of APA. He had to scatter the weak. Perfect execution, not enough. So APA survives.
Wow. I mean, just barely cooking damage.
Okay.
All right.
Not enough there, as now it looks like Team Liquid looking for this play underneath the tower, buffering the Rupture. That's going to be the Glacial Fissure, but they're tanking up these turrets, and you cannot do that against a Cho'Gath. Trying to reset the play. They do get it, but Tomio out of nowhere!
Great response coming out from Tomio to make sure that play doesn't bear any fruit. But Kim down, he's hunting a little bit. You gonna find him?
No. It's not the crit thresh, you know? Where you try to stack up the whip, and you get the one shot.
Yeah, not going to be coming through there, but this is a great dodge coming out from Fake God, making sure that he does not get hit by the execution damage from Mir. I'm a little bit surprised. Mir actually pulls his punch initially as they start going for this, and Bradley doesn't have a whole lot extra to do. He ends up throwing the ultimate out quite late, and Mir has to come back in after resetting the turret aggro. But at that point, he's going to be taking the first turret shot.
And boom!
Tomio is already there, and bam, jump scare.
Yeah, you definitely got to be scared from that one. He really did come out of absolutely nowhere. It seemed like he just appeared. 1 minute he's mid lane, the next minute he's right on top of you.
Yeah. Turns out that you have time to walk between the two lanes in a whole minute, but now we're going to be getting all of the plates going down. Team Liquid will take the first turn, so they will take another small gold lead, but they're also out of position right now for this upcoming Dragon. That's where you see Cloud9 beelining towards.
I think this was more just a forfeit. I feel like Team Liquid Challengers weren't even looking to contest around the Dragon. Look at how little vision they've already had around it beforehand. Then a little bit of a venture. There was, I think, one zombie ward that was there that got cleared out by Tomio. So now that it is completely fog, complete blackness around it.
Yeah, Bradley basically the only person here. Fake God also roaming on his way down, does get spotted on a ward, so Team Liquid know, that if they come into this is a big fight that they're going to try and opt into right away.
Yeah, you only see Lost on vision. They get the pull on Fake God with the choppers as well, but the re-engage to the back line getting so much. They do get the kill on Fake God. Reset it! Oh no! Tomio survives! How does he do it? It's a 1-for-1 trade at the moment. Lost dodging away from some stuns. With that trade, that actually will favor Team Liquid Challengers. They deny this Dragon from being taken right away.
And they also, I mean, they get an opportunity to go in for another fight, but this time it's going to be without ultimates. And the big thing, Zeyzal, Rockstar during that last fight. We'll take another look at it, but Lost looking for Arrow.
Looking for Arrow. Choppers put down, does not connect. There is a Lantern. Arrow will be fine.
Everybody's going to be backing away. Small lead still for Team Liquid, and this is going to be one of those spots, right? A couple of the top teams we've really praised in both Dignitas and Cloud9 for their ability to make plans during the course of the regular season. We'll take another look at the last fight. Watch what Zeyzal is actually able to accomplish in this fight. And he goes for this big tidal wave. I think it hits all 5 members. Oh, it doesn't hit APA, but afterwards, it hits a bubble on 3 people. This is a 2v5 effectively because of the way that Zeyzal is able to land this crowd control. And without that, Tomio definitely dies.
Oh yeah, that bubble connects on to only 2 people. I think Tomio dies. It's Zeyzal being one of the best supports isn't all too surprising. This is a guy who has been to Worlds. He had the best performance for NA since the very beginning, right? Getting all the way to the semifinals with Cloud9. Even when he was a part of the amateur circuit, he was on a team that had been dubbed the best team in amateur. Everyone always has praised this guy. So now stepping back in as a player, having played a little bit of time as that coach, he is just showing why he's always been touted as a world-class support.
Yeah. Such a good player. Also worth noting, Arrow almost stealing that Dragon. It did get a little bit of a buff, so it is now on par with Smite once again, in terms of how much damage it does, but doesn't outdo a Feast.
No, it's not as bad as before. I think it was 200%.
Yeah, when it was uncapped?
Right, it was like 200% and then uncapped. Now I think it's 150 and capped at 200.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's capped at the total damage is still the same as its smite. It's back up to 1,200. So you can try and steal that way.
I'm just talking about 12,
either way.
200% of its base damage.
Yeah. Either way, we do still see a situation where the game remains relatively close. Team Liquid are now the ones setting up. They devoted a lot of their vision towards the top half previously, and it looks as though Cloud9 not going to be able to try and contest this objective, as everybody is still coming out of A. So Team Liquid still going blow for blow, but we got to look at the people who have become problems on the side of Cloud9, and that is Diplex. He's still the public enemy #1 here for Team Liquid. 3-0-0 on the Akali, and we have to face it, while Diplex is not as good of a duelist as MNS was, Diplex is probably a better team fighter, right? He makes fewer egregious decisions, he makes a lot of really smart flanking calls, and if he had gotten that kill earlier on APA where he lived with about 50 HP, like, this guy is still really good at cutting out important members.
And the thing is, it's like, you're saying he's not as good of a duelist as MNS, but he's still a good duelist.
He's still a good duelist.
Yeah, he's still a very good player and has shown that so many times here in the Challengers League as well when he had his stint in the LCS. And like you talked about, his team fighting. This is something that was praised before, I believe back when he was still part of the ERLs as well. A lot of people said how good Diplex was at piloting around a lot of these fights, especially on more of these melee assassins.
Yeah. And we'll see what kind of effect they can have today. We have high hopes for this guy to potentially find another berth in an LCS team. At the same time, it is still a spot where Team Liquid, the #1 threat that is on this team is still going to be Mir. He's got 2 of his team's 3 kills and an assist on the other one. He's got the Kraken Slayer, so he's going to be getting a lot of burst down relatively early on, and also is going to be threatening to go for Barons much faster than people might be expecting. And you're seeing the other person who has a kill, Bradley, he's in full support mode. He's got the Locket of the Iron Solari coming through, not going to necessarily be a damage threat, or I guess he never was going to be, but not even going to have that ambient damage from something like a Sunfire. He is full on support mode to make sure that Mir can get the
he can still get a Sunfire. Remember, they changed how that is. But I'm more surprised it's not the straight-up tank build path. Then again, you are going up against Cho'Gath. Doesn't really matter too much. So I guess that is the reasoning behind it. Rather help out the rest of the team, especially because you have the triple carry. It's now Diplex fighting against 2 in the bot lane, but look at the damage he provides. He's 3 kills ahead. That's the shuriken flip. Perfect execution, not enough. Minions not able to get the kill either. Looking for Diplex. Where's the Scout of the Week? Where's the ult from APA? They've got so many members down here. Diplex wants to turn it around, see if he can be a hero. He knows that Mir is still there, and he is chasing this one, because what else has he got? And he bought so much time, but Fake God, he TP'd down to this one, and he puts himself on the line to keep the bounty on the head of Diplex.
I gotta say, that was not on my bingo card for Diplex going in for a 1v2 that results in Fake God dying. But that's what ends up happening. The Reptile does crash down here. Team Liquid do turn around Diplex's aggression relatively easily. And you got to feel a little bit for Fake God, right? It feels like some of his death is not entirely his own fault coming through, but it is Team Liquid preying on
was on
him.
purpose. That was a Cloud9 call. You're like, all right, Diplex has
Protect the bounty.
Yeah, he's got a bounty. He's 3-0. Who here isn't doing, like, who doesn't have the most gold on their team? Fake God, you have TP, you're the sacrifice. Get over here.
Yeah, get over here. Well, either way, that is going to be another kill going over to Team Liquid. This one goes into the hands of Arrow, and something we haven't looked at a whole lot so far, Alex, is the fact that Team Liquid, they're playing a pretty nutty reset comp, right? You have both the Jinx with the excitement and Mir with his ability to possess player after player every time they get a kill. And now that APA is an actual damage threat, they had the burst to get that first person low. Team Liquid have a very cool composition to play around. It's all about whether or not they can get that first kill in a team fight early enough to kill everybody else. And so now they're here first. They have some tools where they are much better equipped to play defensively, because you can't really walk in on this ramp against Syndra.
That's why I said it's the triple threat. You have Viego, Syndra, and Jinx, and now Diplex. He's got his ult back up. He's got TP. He is looking for that one. And here, looking for the stun. Does get it. And Arrow is going to put himself in danger. He had to heal, but all that damage onto Diplex with a perfect execution. Flayed for shutdown for APA. Huge amounts of gold for Team Liquid.
And great stuff from Team Liquid there, but they're going to be losing a turret for it. They will be able to grab a Chemtech Dragon, and there's no real opportunity for Cloud9 to try and turn onto the Baron. Great catch. Is going to really put a stop to some of the things that Cloud9 were trying to do. And so we're starting to see Team Liquid, they're giving Cloud9 a real run for their money in this game one. It's starting to look much closer to like Flyfam versus Dignitas.
Yeah, it's one of those moments where this is where we talk about Cloud9, where they have had some of their weaknesses. Sure, a lot of people talk about how you could attack Tomio because it's always 3 winning lanes. The Team Liquid are just like, well, we think we can stay on par with them in lane phase. They did so. It was just that one play bot lane that kind of got things a little dicey for them. But after that clean macro, that's constantly been their play, maybe finding a pick or 2 here and there. And it's worked out for them perfectly to, even if it's not a massive gold lead, at least they're in the lead.
Yeah. I mean, it's good stuff coming out for Team Liquid. Absolutely. They are a team that has been really reliant on having strong early games, and going even against Cloud9 is a fantastic look for this team. But now we're shifting the play action a little bit towards the top side of the map. We don't have a dragon for 4 minutes, and it is worth noting that on these Chemtech maps, it is a lot harder to maintain strong vision control because of the number of these Scryer's blooms that actually sprout, pop up, and just make it really easy to kill a bunch of wards. But now Team Liquid trying to clear out a lot of what Cloud9 had just created on opportunities where Cloud9 could look to go in, and Lost.
Okay, Lost forced to cleanse. That's the calling, eaten up by APA, but the Lantern does deny any more damage from chipping away at the health bar. That's one summoner spell's burn now for Lost. And Lost is the other member that we look at Cloud9 and how we talked about Diplex being very strong, and we have to still focus on Lost. Because Lost is a player that is been a very big instrumental piece for Cloud9 and finding a lot of their victories. And this has really been his chance to show why he deserves a spot back in the LCS.
And I love listening to how his teammates will talk about him, right? Because he is one of the most aggressive AD carries we have in the entire league, and he does it well. It's not often that you see Lost go forward and get caught. It's way more often they're like, I didn't think Lost could get any damage there, but he walks up, throws out a bunch of spells, dashes backwards, and is totally fine. And he's up, you know, 40 CS currently on Arrow. He's already got the second item and building towards a third one relatively quickly. It feels as though Lost has picked up everything that they could possibly ask for. He really only has one tank to chew through in Bradley, who's not going for the dedicated, selfish tank build. He's doing it to be more proactive about helping out the rest of his team.
That's the one thing that with Team Liquid Challengers, we've always praised them about, is how they play as a team, especially when they're on even footing with other teams. Their macro has been some of the best that we've seen out of any of our Challengers teams. So long as they don't fall behind early, they can fall back, recuperate around Mir and his shot calling, and then follow up afterwards. But Kim down, nearly completely killed by that calling. That's actually going to be detrimental for them around this objective.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure that Cloud9 can start hitting the Baron just quite yet, but forcing Kim down off the Baron exactly gives up a ton of control around this side of the map. And crucially, it also gives Diplex a lot more freedom to start hitting this top lane turret. And Cloud9 will reassert a lead and just control over the map for now.
Just a little bit. It's the ebb and flow between the two teams. Now Cloud9 with a bit of a gold lead themselves again. Not really one lead that's going to make or break this game. It's so close between the two, and I like how Team Liquid are constantly trying to attack Diplex because they understand that if Diplex is allowed alive around any objective play like this Baron, then they're always under threat of having Arrow get immediately killed off before he can actually do enough damage to the objective. So this is why they have to play around him, spotting him out, getting the stun as well with the Hex. A little bit in the distance. Had it not been for Fakon again, saving the life of this mid laner, would have been a really dicey situation for Cloud9.
It's also worth noting they don't even have to kill him. They just need to get his ultimate, because Akali without the perfect execution does not have the same kind of kill threat onto players like APA or Arrow. So the fact that Fakon sniffs that out, comes here to pick up the top lane wave, and saves Diplex in his entirety is going to allow Cloud9 a lot stronger tools with which to try and play for this dragon here in a moment. And both teams getting there at about the same time. Neither of them has strong offensive tools with which to flank, so instead it's going to be mostly about who can actually bully their way in, and I think the poke advantage is going to be going over to Team Liquid.
Team Liquid are looking to set up around this dragon. They did save themselves a little bit of room with not losing the last dragon, so it is only the soul point potential that Cloud9 can pick up here. They still got to be careful because that's still a powerful tool for Cloud9 to use later on if they're able to grab this third dragon of the game. You could argue, you know, Chemtech Soul, not the greatest, but It also opens up Elder Dragon. That could make or break this game for either squad.
Yeah, and here we go. Look at where Diplex is. He's currently sitting on a flank.
Spot him out, though.
A little bit of damage.
Bradley eating up a lot of attention, but none of it really sticking onto him. He was able to pop the shield from the bucket of the Iron Solari to absorb a lot of that pressure, and now with Cloud9 starting up the Dragon, Diplex spotted out and marked by Bradley. Waiting it out, trying to keep him at bay. He can't enter the pit, and it's going to be feasted by Fake God. But now it's the retreat out of there. Can they get out with the flashes away? Tidal Wave connecting onto nobody as Lost dodges away from Bradley with the Rupture as well. Fighting this back, Cloud9 execute the play perfectly.
Yeah, Cloud9 do a fantastic job pushing Team Liquid. You saw them go all the way around their own blue buff because they were worried about the flank from Diplex. They needed to prevent him from finding their way onto the back line. And that's going to be a third Dragon, like you called out. Another Feast Stack going over to Fake God, who is still a massive problem, literally and figuratively, for the rest of Team Liquid. And Cloud9, this is what they do to a lot of the lesser teams, but this is also, this exact style of game is constant pressure back and forth. It's the kind of game that they lost at CLG earlier in the season. It feels as though Team Liquid can actually outplay them from this spot.
Like earlier in the season, you mean just last week?
Oh, yeah. Week 7.
Was it last week or was it the week before that?
It's it depends on how you count weeks.
Yeah, true. Either way, it wasn't that long ago, is what I'm trying to say. And it looks like Team Liquid have learned their lessons from that as well. They studied the tape. They're making these plays. They're trying to posture and contest Cloud9 whenever they can. The biggest problem, though, is that Diplex continues to be the thorn in their side. Player from the ERLs is able to get 3rd place back in spring of last year, and then the 5th, 8th finish in the summer. So getting himself into the quarterfinals. This guy has been under pressure like this before. He knows how to play in do-or-die tournaments, play his heart out at doing so.
Yeah. Also worth noting how Tomio, the other player who's done quite well so far in this game, is also a player that didn't have a whole lot of super high expectations based on how they were playing on Evil Genius's Academy last year, but have definitely looked quite a bit stronger. Is now, oh, that death sentence.
Oh. That's going to be a bummer. Not actually getting anything further from it. I like this fog, not knowing where Team Liquid are. Looks like Team Liquid are just going to fall back, recuperate, and look for a reset.
Yeah. I mean, you have to look at how many waves Team Liquid actually dropped for that, right? That's got to be at least 2 waves in the mid lane, currently dying to the turret gods that Team Liquid were giving up in order to try and make that pick happen. You can do that from time to time, but it can't be a consistent thing unless your plays are consistently going well. So Team Liquid, as we take a look at the items once again, APA is getting close to that Rabadon. That is a huge spike. Level 16 and the Rabadon's coming out for Syndra will make Syndra a huge problem coming out here for Cloud9. Also, Arrow getting close to that 3rd item as well. Yeah. Jinx is, I mean, everybody talks about Jinx as like a hyper carry, but it is something where you really look at the 2-3 item power spikes for this character as the biggest points of relevance, and then after that you just have a lot of range to play with. So Team Liquid, they're already trying to flip the play towards the bottom side of the map in order to set up before Cloud9 can play it.
Curious to see just how many stacks APA is at as well. It's got to be over 100 at this point, I would assume.
Probably. Yeah, we'll hopefully get a chance to take a look at that. I believe it's at 120 that you get the extra AP.
You get, I believe that's when you get the execute. Where's that the AP?
I thought that was 100.
No,
Either way,
you might be right.
Yeah.
I could be getting them conflated.
It's a lot, right? I think it's 100 that you get the execute, and then at 120 you get the extra AP, which does stack with Rabadons. It becomes absolutely nutty. APA backs away, probably has that Rabadons completed. That'll be a big problem for Cloud9, because even Fake God, I mean, he itemized into a Frozen Heart, which is great against most of the other members of Team Liquid, but it doesn't do a whole lot into APA. There it is, all 3 items completed. This is one of the guys that I think was potentially the most impressive thing we've seen from this guy so far of APA is the game that they played up against Evil Geniuses, where he played the Cassiopeia into Ryoma's Tristana, and absolutely bopped him, single-handedly carried the entire game.
That game was so impressive. And APA as a player, you know, in the collegiate scene, we've seen him so many times, and everyone has praised him back then, especially because he's had such a quirky champion pool that he can play with, the Rallying Soul, before the rework, as well as his Ziggs for something of legends with everyone in Collegiate League of Legends. But here on a Challengers team, he struggled a little bit at the beginning, but he has really started to come into his own. And he's going to be the big person that we have to look at in this fight, because he is on the other side, trying to pass away with the TPs as well. They've got the damage. Tomio has to go golden. Look at what Diplex is doing in the back line. He's looking for Arrow. He takes down Kim down as Floss gets a little bit of damage onto APA. And he wants to get over the wall. Perfect execution. Gets 2 to go golden. And Arrow by his lonesome. Double kill for Diplex, with everybody from Team Liquid getting run down. It is a clean ace that will happen once Bradley falls. They've got him locked down. Even if Tomio and Zazel don't have that much damage between them, they have just enough for an ace.
And a fantastic teleport coming out from Diplex to close out game 1. It was competitive the entire time, but Cloud9 with a better flank on the fight gets the first kill onto APA, the first kill onto Bradley, all at the very end. Team Liquid crumble at the last moment. Cloud9 move up 1-0 in the series.
One perfect play, perfect execution from Diplex in a fight. That's all that was needed. And they take that first game over Team Liquid Challengers. It was well fought between the two, but it just seems that what happens when you have a Akali that you can't mark and get away from your marksman, well, it means you don't really have a fight left.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I have to give a ton of props to Diplex for that teleport there at the very end. Cloud9, which is a slightly better setup, crushing the fight because of it. Team Liquid try and find a pick onto Fate God, as they've done so many times this game. Unfortunately, this time was the one that breaks the camel's back. Congrats to Cloud9 on getting the first game so far in the series.
And with that, we're going to toss to a break. In a moment, we'll bring back Kangas for our halftime, third-time show, depending on if we get a Game 3 or not. We'll find that out shortly, so make sure you stay tuned.